Hello, football family. Welcome into Huddle It Up Live, episode 20. Jameel is here with me. Jameel, love you, brother. Glad to have you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to be here, man. Happy to be here.
So, what's going on around the house, man? Before we get into ball, we got a lot of ball talk. And I understand you might be doing some painting around there.
Yeah, man. I'm painting the apartment, man. When you got little kids, little babies running around, they get a hold of crayons and markers and things of that nature. So they tend to hit the walls a little bit, man. Scribble on the wall. So you know, had to sand down. It's a little some stuff I had to sand down too. It's like little pricks in the wall and stuff, little tiny little holes. Had to sand it down a little bit, and painting to cover up some of the marks on the wall. That's
So,
it.
does the color match? Does the color match?
Yeah. I mean, it's just regular white. So I'm doing the entire like living room, dining room area, just white. Yeah,
Okay,
giving it that
I
fresh
thought
look.
you were just painting over where they drew with the crayons.
Pretty much giving it a fresher look. Pretty much, that's it.
So, did you get any? Like, it makes it tough when they write something nice, like "I love Daddy," and then you're supposed to tell them.
Hey, look, hey, that might have had to stay on the wall, but since that wasn't what it was just a bunch of scribbling. It was easier to just wash it, cover it up. I didn't feel bad covering it up.
So we had a baby room, basically where the baby slept, and I had friends come over, and it was a big to do, and we all painted it up. We had this John Lennon Imagine series, which I don't
Hmm.
know how much you know about John Lennon, but Imagine is the Imagine All the People song, very popular. I'm sure people watching don't know what to talk about. But he did this own him and Yoko did their own drawings and stuff. So we had the lamp, the bassinet, the toy, the everything was it. So we painted the walls it with the same. It was like animals, like giraffes, elephants, all this other stuff. So funny. I got so sentimental with this. My sons were like 15, 16 years old, and they still had the baby setup in there because I didn't want to paint over it, man. Reminded me of what you said. They said, "I love Daddy." You don't want to paint over that, man.
Nah, for sure. I mean, for me, I just something that I keep. My youngest daughter, I still got a pair of her like little pants. They're like some premature pants. I still got a pair of those. So like my daughter had like some like pants that she had when she was like a baby, like when she was a newborn. And I still have them. Like I refuse to give them away. I'm not giving them away. I'm gonna keep those. So they're like the little things that I have, that
Yeah.
my kids, that I got from my children.
See, I'm the same way. I'm not a hoarder. Like I like to clear stuff out, but there's certain things that Man, I had my house burned down once, but that was when I was so young, Jamil. I didn't have anything sentimental. So, um,
Right.
funny story though. I went to a Red Sox game when I was, 21. My house burned down that year. The Red Sox ticket, the Fenway Park ticket, were inside a book in this cabinet, and that survived the whole house burning down.
Oh yeah, you have to keep that.
A ticket though.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like out of all the things, right? So yeah. But those type of things you have to keep once that happens.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. It was Christmas Eve. It burned down. So Christmas, I spent digging through rubbish, and everybody was out in the street and like slowing down and rubbernecking and doing all that. I
Right.
was in such. Dude, that wasn't a day you wanted to see me. I was pretty mad. Like I was young. I wasn't like sad. I was mad.
Yeah.
Palmer Don C. Look at this. We get a picture of our brother Don. Man, he is Big Don Stud. Check him out down there. Balmer Don C, thank you so much, man, for stopping by. Appreciate you, man. The Dapper Don. And
Yes,
then
sir.
I pulled up the wrong one. Jameel and Jason. Jameel said hi to you. Sorry about that, Don. Pulled up the wrong one there. Kim Essen here. Hi, everyone. Yes, please hit that like. Jason truly appreciates all the support. I do. And the more you hit the likes, the more people will come up in the algorithm. They'll be able to see Jameel and I and the guests that we have. Um, but yes, we already have a thought in here, Jameel. So let's get rolling, man. Let's
Okay.
get going. Oh, and Mr. Polyanis, the Greek freak. Our Pat McCary checking in. Love you, Alec. Hope you had a good Christmas. Hope you had a great holiday. Hope everybody out there enjoying their holidays. We got New Year's Eve coming. But let's jump into it, man, because we have Thoughtful Jones, bro. Thoughtful Jones. Thank you. Wanted to get us started on the elephant in the room, Jameel, and that's the Lamar Jackson situation.
Hmm.
Just to set it up, Lamar was not at practice today. We were all waiting. We were all hoping Wednesday's the first day of practice of the week. Would Lamar practice? I think on Sunday Night Football, they were saying he might practice. So all this consternation, we got a 1 to 3 week timeline. Well, 3 weeks is up. What's happening? Lamar was not at practice. So you got all these reports coming out, Jameel. Let me get your thoughts on this first. Lamar's not showing up for treatment. Lamar's not fully engaged. Remember Skip Bayless earlier this year, who I usually don't pay any attention to, was saying Lamar's not, engaged in the meetings, or it doesn't seem like he's all in. All this stuff that's coming out, and Jameel, for me, before we get into Thoughtful Jones' comment, like it's all speculation, but there's so much smoke now that I'm like kind of freaking out a little bit, man.
I can see why. It's just every time you get on Twitter or if you're watching any type of sports platform, it seems like Lamar Jackson is the hot topic, and it's always, a lot of the times there's some kind of like, drama circulating around it. It's rare that as of lately that it's been anything about his performance or his play level of play in a positive light. A lot of the times when his name is brought up, it's negative. So I can understand why, it starts to get to you a little bit because I find myself getting into that mode like, wow, man, why is it always something when it comes to Lamar Jackson, man? Why can't we just have a day without, someone saying something negative about him, or, a tweet going viral, or, a comment from an analyst or whatever. So I completely understand, bro. I get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
I mean, and usually though, Jameel, I can block all that out, and I don't really
Hmm.
care because I watch Lamar every week. I study the tape. I see the good decisions. I see him carry the team. I think that people who casually watch the Ravens don't really understand. Sometimes it's the throws you don't make, the ball placement, all this. He gets hot and cold, but like, Lamar is really good. So when people say he's a running back and all that nonsense, it's like I just laugh at it because
Right,
it
right.
doesn't bother me like other
Right.
people. But this stuff right here, um, when it's coming from Lamar, the contract situation, and him lingering on, like, um, it just makes me nervous. That's all. It makes me nervous. I want Lamar here long term. I want to see him for the next 5 years of his career, at least his next contract, say, where he's in his prime, where most quarterbacks are in his prime. He'll still be plenty mobile. He'll know more about the game than ever. Looks like maybe a offensive coordinator change is happening. I want to see him in a pass heavy. Like I just want to see all of it, Jameel. So like I'm not feeling real good about the situation. I'm usually pretty even keeled.
Yeah. Yeah, like for me, I think it's just like you said, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. For me, that's just where I'm at with it. I when once the dust settle, I'll kind of see what's going on. I try not to get too overwhelmed or overreact with Lamar in the situation. Some things kind of raise, like I said, it'll raise our eyebrow, but I just try to stay even keel with it. The whole the missing treatment stuff and all of that, I just don't. I'm not really buying into it too much because I'm like, if he was that distant from the team, why would he be at the games? Like that's something that I'm looking at. Like, if he wasn't feeling the team or whatever, then why would he be at the games? He doesn't. He's not. He's hurt. He's inactive. He can't play. So wouldn't he be home resting his knee or whatever, or at least trying to get, you know, like the as much rest as he possibly can for that knee?
Right. I
But
don't know.
he's out in the cold.
I don't think he has like a contractual obligation to be there if
No,
he's not.
no, no,
Right. Right.
not when you're hurt and you're nursing an injury, especially if you're nursing an injury. You wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like he's obviously able to be up and moving around, and in his mind, I'm up and I'm able to walk, I'm able to stand for a long period of time or whatever. I can sit down on the bleachers, but I'm gonna use this time where now I can move around a little bit. I'm gonna go and support my team. So that
So
should be like a sign, like right there. Like, I mean, it's not all gloom, it's not all bad. There may be some things here and there, but that we may not know about, but it's not all bad, obviously, if he's spending his time at the games on the sideline, cheering his teammates on.
All right. Look, you make me feel a little bit better about this. Maybe I'm just in my emotions today because I was hoping we'd come on and talk about he's back at practice and all that other stuff.
Mhm.
Thoughtful Jones, let's go into the comment. Kicking it to you, buddy. Did you see the Ravens video showing the bromance between Harbaugh and Lamar? Lamar and Harbaugh. Well, there's an important guy in that video seemingly snubbing Lamar while pulling Harbaugh's attention away from Lamar. And who he's talking about is, oops, I hope I didn't mess it up here. Urban and Lamar have big issues. So what Thoughtful Jones is talking about is quarterbacks coach um, James Urban. I have
Mhm.
not. I saw the clip. I did not watch Ravens Wired yet. I was prepping for the show, but I did see the clip of Harbaugh going over and joking with him, Jameel. Hey, this ice, this cold it's like ice in your knee, and
Yeah, yeah.
they were joking back and forth and whatever. But let's talk about James Urban for a second because I did think that it was the first time I'd ever seen this before. In training camp, Lamar had brought he works with from what I understand at least three other quarterback coaches. He goes to their place, they come to his place, but he had one of the coaches, names escapes me. I wasn't expecting that comment. It's a great one from Thoughtful Jones. But yeah, maybe there is something to that to where James Urban's going to get cleared out if Giro goes, because ultimately, Jameel, you want that uh, quarterback bond to be inseparable. And what I will say on this is first is that with Lamar, it's kind of hard to tell. He's so professional, Jameel.
Yeah.
Um, like he treats everybody the same. He always smiles, take a picture. You don't know if if he's not feeling himself today. But like, remember, even when he was concussed in the Buffalo game, he wasn't feeling great. He's still stopping to take pictures with people. Like he's just a genuinely good person. So if he had a problem with James Urban, what I'm saying is we wouldn't know. You know what I mean?
Of course.
We wouldn't know. But yeah, I did think it was weird that he brought in his own quarterback coach. What do you think about Thoughtful Jones's his comment there?
Um,
Bring it back up.
one, I did not, I didn't recognize that in the video clip. I didn't even catch that. That's new to me. I actually want to go back and watch the video too to analyze it myself as well. But Thoughtful Jones, Benzo, you kind of shaded light on that.
He did
I
what?
don't say it again.
Nothing, nothing. I was just joking with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Thoughtful Jones, he shed some light on that. I don't know, man. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to over analyze a situation if it's not anything. I want to actually see it first. Like I don't want to over analyze it, man. I hope there's no like bad blood going on between him and James Urban. That will be new to me. But I did say when his quarterback trainer was at the training camp practices, I was like, is that like the norm? I've never heard of anything like that before. So I think his name is Adam D or something like
Dudeau,
that.
Dudeau or
Dedo,
something.
yeah, Adam Dedo. Okay, I knew it was Adam. I just couldn't pronounce the last name. So when
Me
he
neither.
brought him to training camp, that was actually surprising. I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't know people do that. I didn't know quarterbacks bring their personal, all season workout like coaches with them to. I thought that was just the time for you and your coaches for your team to kind of build. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that was the norm. So yeah, that kind of did like strike me like, is there, like why would that be going on?
So I'm wondering if Thoughtful Jones is still in here. If that was part of his if that was part of his process. Shrimp Trawler. Hey, what's going on, man? Very good to hear from you, Shrimp Trawler. Also, this would be a good time, Shrimp Trawler. If you can get a hold of me on Twitter or email, um, that would be great because I want to do a call-in show before the playoffs. If I can get enough support, you don't have to show your face. I'm talking about like a 5-10 minute, like we'll take it like a radio show. If I can get enough support for it, I want to do that. Maybe like a Thursday, Friday night before our first playoff game. So Shrimp Trawler, man, I need to have you in there. You're the one. That's what it reminded me of. If you could have one, Lamar or Harbaugh, who would you take? Whoa, tough question there because you're talking about a potential. I'm saying Hall of Fame type player. You get the MVP already. You get a Super Bowl in there. It's hard to find too many players that have a Super Bowl championship and an MVP that aren't in the Hall of Fame. You're talking about rushing records, all the stuff that Lamar's already done in his first 4+ years, um, or versus a coach who has been a successful head coach. I mean, there's always going to be things, Jameel, that your coach does that gets on your nerves. It's same thing like if you're with somebody long enough, your husband or wife, you love them to death. There's 99 things that you love, but there's one thing that bothers you. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's going to keep bothering you. Well,
Right.
with Harbaugh, fans get caught up on those things that bother them. Some people love him, some people not as much. Hard to argue with his record. That's a tough question. That's one that I would have to think on, man. I don't even know if I have an answer for that because damn if I want to give up a Hall of Fame player in his prime.
That's a very easy question for me to answer. Sorry, Jason, but I can cast that on in. You know what I'm saying? I would have to say, man, for me, I would choose Lamar Jackson in this situation, and I have my reasons, right? So for me, Harbs, players coach, leader of men, great guy. I think when it comes to an X's and O's aspect, though, for me, there are things that I don't see from John, just from situational things in the game, things of that nature that I would expect from a head coach. He allows his coordinators to be the coordinators. He doesn't really step on their toes. He allows Greg Roman to do what Greg Roman does. He allows Mike McDonald to do what Mike McDonald does. He doesn't step on anyone's toes. Great leader, great motivational speaker type of guy. I have no beef with John Harbaugh, but there is no way that I'm going to give up a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, where I can go get another like offense, bring in the offensive minded guy to be the coordinator and potentially take over for Harbs and become the head coach. I just feel like in that particular, I think it'll be easier to replace Harbs than it would be to replace Lamar. I think
You
it's
like,
easier to replace Lamar.
did you like how I skirted that question and didn't answer?
Yeah.
Well, YouTube can be a rough business, man. You'd be surprised. I actually, you look at the views and be like, all right, man, I'm not engraving or nothing. I'll just throw my buddy engraving out there. But as people still they pay attention, they will find me. Look, what I have to say about John Harbaugh is this: I like the culture. I was talking to our buddy Skep today a lot, and he's like, "Look, you can't." He thinks that Harbs gets too much credit for the culture. I push back on him. I'm like, "Look, Ozzy set the foundation. The owner is good, first class. Cafeteria, all that stuff. They spend money, they feel all this, but you can't not give Harbaugh credit for it. Like he's been the head coach for 14, 15 years. So yes, he does deserve some credit. I don't think that the veteran players and former players who are speaking about how great the Ravens are, I don't think it's all media talk. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's because it's constant. Of course, people want to say good things about their former employer and they're thankful, but you hear too much. And then you have guys like Justin Houston, Calais. He takes care of them. He gives them rest days. He keeps them ready. He gets their input. He's got a leadership council. So as far as like a leader of men, as you put it, I do. I really like John Harbaugh. I think he's really good, and that's important. You saw what Nathaniel Hackett fired this week from the Broncos. Really good offensive coach, really good system, but not the leader of men. His locker room's falling apart. You got the backup quarterback fighting with the offensive lineman. Just completely fell apart. What get in game? I'm actually pretty cool with Harbaugh in game. It does bother me that he can't say something like, "Greg, run the damn ball." Right? Stop messing around. I would like to see him step up and do that. But I feel like if you have good coaches and good coordinators, if you hire a good coordinator, you don't need to do too much of that during the game. So um, my problem with Harbaugh has been, especially these last few years, has been personnel. I'll give my examples. Mark Ingram getting token starts in 2019, 2020, with J.K. Dobbins waiting his turn. And remember for a while, Jameel, he would come in and get one carry and then they take him out.
Yep.
All right, come on, man. Like if I was Mark Ingram, I'd be insulted by that. Matt Skura, good center, gets his knee destroyed in 2019. 2020, they start the season with him, and he clearly wasn't right. Was not able to get to the second level, was
Mm-hmm.
graded poorly. But the eye test was poor. Everything was poor. Harbaugh kept starting him. It took him till what, like mid-season later, to pull him. You drafted Tyree Phillips, who was an offensive tackle, a right tackle. You bring them in. You have DJ Fluker and Ben Powers. Powers had been in the system. Fluker had been in the league for a while. Harbaugh decides to stick Phillips in there. There's a couple of more, but even this year with Nick Boyle does not have his power. It's sapped up. When they go to these alignments, well, they'll have Josh Oliver next to the tackle, and then they'll have Nick Boyle next to Oliver. I'm thinking, why isn't a guy like Daniel Falalele in there to pound the rock? Like, why isn't Charlie Kolar activated? I look at the extra special teams activation, not being able to get a jobbo on the field, stuff like this, the personnel, and then the draft, like the Ben Mason thing. Well, I don't know how much input Harbaugh has, but it sure seems like he has a lot of favorites every year when EDC comes and announces it. So, Jameel, I know it took up a lot of time there. I'm sorry. So, what I'm thinking is, look, culture leader, yes, definitely. I think there's something to that. Game day coach, I'm cool, bro. He doesn't get on my nerves with that. It's the personnel decisions that drive me nuts with John Harbaugh.
For me, I do agree with you with the culture. I do think he inherited a culture that was built, and I think he's done a fairly decent to good job with upkeeping the culture. I think we have to add the context there with allowing people to know or to understand that he may not have created the culture, he inherited the culture that was already built by Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and the guys who were there prior to him being the head coach. But I do feel like he deserves credit for doing his absolute best with upkeeping and trying to keep that culture alive. But like I said, man, for me, I actually didn't even want to get into the personnel things, but that is like one of my other pet peeves with John. So I agree with you there. Like personnel, drafting, input. It seems like a lot of his guys don't really work out. Ben Cleveland, we still are waiting for him to turn the tide. Like with that, and like you said, Ben Mason, it's like,
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on with the Jabbo. He was a second round pick. I think that's the frustration with a lot of fans because they're like, we could have drafted someone else in that spot that could have been an immediate impact for this season right now. Whereas if the Ravens are Super Bowl or bust, we need hands on deck. If we like to build through the draft, we need a draft pick, especially in the second round. Whoever we draft needs to help us right away. Not next year, unless you guys don't have any aspirations of making the Super Bowl or making a deep run. Then you go get a David Ajabo, somebody you're not planning on putting on the field right away. But if you have Super Bowl aspirations, I believe you draft players who can help you immediately.
A wise man once told me that you need your draft picks to contribute year one. Not necessarily all of them. There are we're going to get hurt, but you can't go into a draft completely on the future. You need contributions year one. I want to get to some comments in here, Jameel. We got some. Brandon DeShields. Brandon, hey man, good to see you. Glad you're in here again. Sorry, I got a little itch on my nose. I'm trying not to dig in it on camera. Wished LJ played against the Squealers. Only won once out of 4, I believe. Sweeping Pitt is top priority for any Ravens, but hopefully he'll be healthy enough for the North title game. We play Cincy next week, or damn, at least to start the playoffs. You ain't kidding. Hey, give LJ his quarterback coach. If T. Martin is promoted to offensive coordinator, if Roman leaves next year, if Lamar Jackson wants that, that's an easy decision for EDC. That's one. I have some other ideas too. I think that there's a mix out there. I don't want to. The one scheme I keep thinking about a lot is the offensive stretch zone, but I think that would limit Lamar. I'm thinking more of a true West Coast offense. Jameel, how do you feel about like the Andy Reid tree? Ties into Harbaugh. You got a lot of creativity in there. You can still pound the rock when you need to, but you got your short passing game, deep passing game. How would you like to see that in Baltimore?
I would love to see it. I would love it. It's nothing more. I don't like right now, other than my family, it's nothing that I would love more. I'm sorry. Look, get Lamar, work that field horizontally, man. Get the speed in there. You got the offensive line. A lot of our offensive linemen are, pretty much are athletic, from I want to say Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum, they could get up the field, man. Stretch that field horizontally as well as we got JK. JK can run east and west as well as he can run north and south. So, you got some of the personnel there, man. You got a quarterback who's really good. That's dangerous, man. Play action. Lamar turning his back to the defense. That's scary, man. I'm just saying. West
I'm just
Coast. Oh,
saying. Just saying. Hey, and here's another person just saying, uh, man, one of my favorites, simply AS10. The go check out his YouTube channel. He's also co-host of Purple Rain podcast. Him and our buddy Sutton Death, who I like to call Sutton Death because he's got the best voice on YouTube. But yeah, check out Simply Stuff. He's always got something new and something creative. Man, well, hopefully when Simply makes it big, Jameel, he'll remember our names.
for sure. I hope so. I hope so.
The little people, us, Balmer Don C weighs in. He would take LJ all day.
Sure.
And Shrimp Trawler says he thinks Harbs is done. He has been particularly irritable with the media, and he'll take Lamar 100 times. I don't think Harbs is done. But this is a good point. Bishotti fired Billick, and they were also close friends and still are. Not only that, Shrimp Trawler, he told Billick his job was safe. Jamil, I don't know if you were around. I know you're a young guy,
No, I
but
was.
yeah, and then he went around and pulled the players and ended up firing Billick. My own personal opinion, Harbaugh's safe. I think that's fans going a little overboard. I mean, dude, there's fans in Pittsburgh that want Tomlin out of there. So, fans are going to be fans. My own personal opinion, not to discredit anybody else, Harbaugh is safe. I think we see a change in the offensive coordinator. Jameel, Harbaugh safe?
I think Harbaugh is safe for now. I think he's safe for now. I think just from a leadership aspect, that's not easy to find in a lot of head coaches. So for right now, I think Harbaugh is safe. I do. Right at this very moment, if you had to ask me, I would say yes.
This is a good Shrimp Trawler. He's talking about the in-house options. There's one name Shrimp Trawler and I are thinking alike here. I would like to see Anthony Weaver have a extra title of assistant head coach. Now, I don't know what it is.
Isn't he
Again,
the assistant head coach now?
if he is, it's news. If you
I
could look
believe he
that up.
is. He is. He's the D line. He's the assistant head coach / D line coach.
All right.
I
Um,
believe so.
yeah, if you want to look that up, you can, man. I'm kind of
Yep.
terrible at doing that.
Oh no
But
no
yeah,
no no no.
it
You're
sticks
good, bro. I
out to
got
me.
you.
He is like all Ravens culture. He talked about how much this organization step one. He's professional as heck. I've seen him get on the players. I've seen him, build up the players. I've seen him, just handle people in a great way.
Yes.
He sticks. Is he real? Is he really?
Assistant head coach / defensive line.
There you go. I would like to keep him in house, and who knows how long people want to coach. Harbaugh is still kind of young, but man, Anthony Weaver, I think's got a future in coaching. Brandon DeShield says, "Here we go, Jameel. We got somebody one the other way. I'll take Harbs. If you trade LJ, it's a lot of 2024 compensation only. LJ to stay, new coaching staff. So, Brandon, I don't know if I'm reading you right on there, but
Yeah.
I'll read it
He
out
kind
loud.
of.
I thought I had something there for a
Yeah,
second.
me too. Me too. I was like, huh? Like,
Brandon,
I
who
think he's
clarify?
saying. I want to say he's taking Harbs, but if LJ stayed, then he wants. I think he's pretty much saying if LJ stayed, he wants a new coaching staff. If Harbs stayed, he wants Lamar traded. Is that what he's saying?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Lamar's got a lot of control in this.
Yeah.
People saying if Lamar wants out and he wants to do the quiet quitting thing or this and that, there will be people who are willing to wait a year to get Lamar. And then on top of it, you saw what Cleveland gave up to get their quarterback. Jameel, I mean, you could get and Lamar's worth his weight in gold, bro. He fills up stadiums.
You seen what Russell Wilson what Denver gave up for Russell Wilson too.
I mean, seriously, bro, that's a good point. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be somebody of Lamar's caliber or even Russell Wilson. Want to bring up Tyler. Tyler, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you commenting. Are we in trouble this week with Brandon Stevens covering Pickens or Johnson? What do you think we should do in coverage with Peters out? Well, I do think this week I feel a little bit less confident than I did with the last Steelers game, Jameel, because of the losses of Peters and even Calais Campbell. I think that showed up a little bit last week. Tyler Algier and the Falcons, credit to them, they're a very physical group. Not as physical. The Steelers are less physical than the Falcons, but Calais is a force on that line, doing all the little stuff. But yeah, Brandon Stevens against Pickens. You got somebody who's a really, really good at the jump ball, the back shoulder fades, all that catch point stuff. And Brandon Stevens hasn't reached the point in his career as of yet where he looks back and can find the ball. So to answer your question, Tyler, I think that we'll see a lot of zone. I think we'll see some Chuck Clark over top of one half of the field, Marcus Williams over top of the other half of the field. They're obviously very comfortable with Kyle Hamilton is your slot cornerback right now, Tyler. So think about this, Jameel. The Steelers like to move Deontay Johnson around. He's going to be in the slot probably a lot. One-on-one, Kyle Hamilton versus Deontay Johnson is a mismatch. Kyle cannot keep up with that kind of quickness. So what I think they'll do, Tyler, you're gonna see a lot of zone defenses against the rookie quarterback Pickett, not only for the receivers but to confuse the young quarterback.
And I agree. And I also think the Steelers' offensive line have their hands full too with that pass rush from the Baltimore Ravens. You also have to factor it in. So, like, one hand washes the other. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, Brandon Stevens is definitely a downgrade from Juice Man. We know that. We understand it. And since we understand it, I'm assuming Mike McDonald understands it. And he'll make sure he puts his guys in the best position to succeed. I don't think he's going to put Brandon Stevens out there and tell him to, you know, cover one, as
Right.
Wink Wink, put his guys in situations with it, they probably shouldn't have been. I don't think Mike McDonald's doing that. I think he's, he understands he has the pass rush. He has the guys that can create some pressure and get to the quarterback. That can fluster it a little bit and make it hard for Kenny Pickett to actually, complete some throws and stuff like that. And zone coverage as well.
Love it, love it. So we got a lot of great comments in here. I love it, Jameel. I thank everybody for commenting. Just so much good stuff. Saw our guy Anand checking in as well. Welcome in, Anand. Love you to death. But yeah, let's bring up our first graphic here. We got something. The red zone offense, Jameel. It's something that you wanted to talk about. And when I looked it up, it was actually worse than I thought, my friend. Okay, so just to talk you through the chart, red zone offense, you're talking about when you get the ball inside the 20-yard line. There's the top 5 teams on the left. Philadelphia scores a touchdown 72% of the time they're in the red zone. Dallas scores a touchdown 71%. You see all the way down to KC at 68%. The bottom 5 teams, the Jets, the Texans, the Baltimore Ravens at 46%, then Indianapolis, then New England. And just to give context on the right, I put some Ravens categories. The last 3 games, Jameel, we were at 22% in the red zone. So 22% is a 2 for 9. That's a 2 for 9. I know my numbers like that. 3 out of 9 is 33%. 4 out of 9, 44%. 2 out of 9 is what the number is basically. Last year, Jameel, we were at 61%, which isn't quite top 5 territory, but still a really good number.
Top 10.
This is the one part, Jameel, that just is burning me up and probably pretty much is making the difference between us scoring in the teens to where we could score in the 20s, even with Tyler Huntley.
For me, that's the main issue for me, right? The lack of creativity. We know that the field shrinks, right? You get to the red zone, the field shrinks. There's certain things that defenses they're keying in on. People know we love to run the football. So we get down in that red zone. Teams are daring us to their playing zone. They're keeping their eyes forward on Lamar or Tyler Huntley because they know we like to run the football with the quarterback, and they're making sure that they have eyes on that. And, they're daring us to throw the ball in the red zone, man. And it's just the lack of creativity. It seems to haunt us right now because 46% is just not good. That means we're literally living to get there and hoping we get in enough of a field goal range for Justin Tucker to kick a field goal. It's almost like we're telling Huntley, just get to field goal range. Just get us there. That's how it feels. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it almost feels that way because it's like I do find times while I'm watching and I'm just like, why do they seem to take their foot off the gas too? It's like they even stop running, actually trying to run the ball when they get in the red zone. It's like they just take their foot off the gas and they just say, they get conservative. Just stay here, stay safe. Whatever plays we call, if they don't work, we're still in field goal range, and we know Justin Tucker is going to give us the 3 points. That's just the vibe I'm getting.
I'm with you, Jamil. And Anand brought up something. He don't miss nothing, bro. I love this. How is Tennessee scoring that much in the red zone, Jamil? Are they running for touchdowns a lot? Other teams have stronger passing attacks. Exactly, Anand. That's what I was just about to say, and you picked up on it. You don't have to be a passing offense. Heck, Detroit, their best weapons is the run game with Jamal Williams has got a bunch of touchdowns this year. DeAndre Swift has his touchdowns. So it's not just your high flying teams. Philly runs the ball a good bit too. With effectiveness, Miles Sanders, Zeke getting his touchdowns, as you know, man. Anybody out there playing fantasy football. So to me, it's not that we're because we're a run heavy team. To me, it's that the play calling, it took us like a whole half, 3/4 to figure this out last week, where we ran the ball 11 straight times, drove down, ended up scoring a touchdown on a nice little, we threw it and they were off guard. But yeah, this isn't just Huntley either. I mean, with Huntley, it's 22%, but even, the overall number is 46%. So Lamar's got to be in the low 50s, even with Lamar Jackson. And then the part that bothers me too, Jamil, you would think it's higher because I remember us not taking the points in the red zone, at least 3-4 times off the top of my head. Like, we're not just settling for field goals either. We're going for it and missing, man. Which makes
There's been times we've tried to go for it and missed. But I just for me, along with the not having success, I think a lot of it boiled down to lack of creativity. I just don't think that's just how I feel. I'm watching the games, and yes, Tennessee, they do run the ball a ton. We all know that, Derrick Henry, right? So we know Derrick Henry is punching it in. So they've committed to running the ball, but it just seemed like when we get to the red zone, we either overthink it or we stop doing what works. So if we're running the ball with Gus Edwards, he's getting 9 yards a carry, and JK getting 9 yards a carry, all up and down the field. Why stop and then start doing something else? And then if you lack your creativity, why not just do what works, which is running the football? At least trying to find out some way to get some kind of success instead of just because this is not just about throwing the football. This is just overall lack of creativity when you get in the red zone because it's harder to score in the red zone.
Agreed. And you know what, though? All that said, and I totally agree. Lamar Jackson will help a lot if we can get him back on the field. You still need the coaching, but Lamar himself makes up for a lot of coaching ills, as we've seen over the years. Bad decisions, broken plays. Lamar got this. I wanted to say hi. Black Daniels in the house. What is going on, Mr. Daniels? Good to see you. Better late than never. Man, you're not late. You're right on time, man. You're right on time. Simply AS10 with some breaking news, Jamil. Tyler Beatty terminated his contract with the Ravens. Terminated his contract. You mean the Ravens waived him or he demanded out? That's kind of an odd situation for a guy who was drafted in the 6th round. So I guess Tyler Beatty's no longer with the Ravens, Jamil.
That's shocking to me. Like you say, he's a 6th round pick.
And Black Daniels,
he terminated his own, so he asked to be released.
I mean, unless Simply's college graduate, so I'm gonna trust his typing on this.
Yeah.
Tyler Beatty terminated his contract. Yeah, I think Simply would have just said we cut him, but that's not what he said. And Black
right.
Daniels backed him up, saying that he saw that. So, man,
wow.
that is just wild, man. That is just wild.
That is.
Lack of creativity, bingo. Not sticking with what works. That's another one. That's the other part that I would take about when I can see we go downfield on these power schemes, these counters, these pulls, all this straight ahead stuff. And then we'll go down to the red zone, Jamil, and we'll have Tyler Huntley keep a read option going sideways. Or we'll run zone and get strung out for a 1-yard loss. And it just that's the whole 1st and goal back, bro. Like just what's worth. And then Black Daniels, the tweet said he terminated his contract. Hey, man, you know what? First thing I'm thinking of here, hopefully Mr. Beatty is okay. Hopefully he's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he's good too. I mean, it's not an everyday thing when you see a draft pick you know, I mean, even though he's a late draft pick, but it's not every day that you see somebody, a young player like that, terminate their contract. Like go in, that means he went into the office, had a conversation, and said, "Yeah, like I don't know if he's giving up on football, mental health. Like it's just a lot of things you don't know what's going on with him. So, my prayers are out to Tyler Beatty. I hope everything's okay. I hope you're good, bro. If you do see this, I hope you're good, man. Because that's not an everyday thing. You see a young guy going, and just ask to be released from a team or terminated from a team.
That's why I love you, Jameel, because as soon as at first I'm like, "What? He's not happy," and then I thought, "Wait a minute, that's kind of wild." So
Yeah,
I'm not going to bug Jeff or any of the reporters about this. I'll just let be patient. I just hope Tyler's okay. I hope his family's okay. Hopefully, he doesn't have to attend to somebody, or has got some serious issues he's dealing with, or has an injury that is threatening his career. You never know, man. So, prayers up to Tyler Beatty. Hopefully, he's okay. Um, yeah, man, that's tough, man. Yeah, they work so hard to get to that level. Hope all is well. Um, I want to say also, last thought on the red zone is we need to get Mark Andrews going. I'm going to read a stat for you, Jameel. Mark Andrews in his last 4 games. This is all with Tyler, right? He's gotten 25 targets, only 12 catches. So 12 out of 25. He's catching less than half of his targets. 146 yards over 4 games. So you're talking what? 36 yards a game, averaging 3 catches for 36 yards a game. Jameel, this is our best player on offense. You pointed out to me he's playing a ton of snaps, and we're
yeah.
not getting much out of him, man. Like, we have to get Mark Andrews going. What do you think's going on?
I think it has a lot to do with the connection with Tyler Huntley. He doesn't have the same rapport with Huntley as he do with Lamar. Even last game, there was a situation. I don't want to, I don't want to make like an overblown type of thing, but there was a situation where Mark was like yelling. He was like upset, frustrated. It was right after the play. It was like a scramble drill type of thing where I know 9 times out of 10 Lamar would have threw that football, and I think Huntley didn't throw the football in that situation that Mark know if 8 was back there, 8 would have thrown that pass. It
He
was
was wide open. He was
Yeah,
wide
it
open.
was Mark 1-on-1. It was a scramble drill. He kind of got like maybe a yard or two separation from the guy where Mark's a big body. It was a corner checking him. So he's a big body guy. He could just box him out. And it was right there at the power line. And Tyler Hunt, it was just Huntley just scrambling in that direction. And he could have just, threw the ball, or at least tried. And he didn't. He didn't even throw it. So it's like, yeah, Mark, I think that's kind of like the sign of what's going on.
Coach DC over at All 22 Films, All 22 Cuts, maybe. I always forget because he switched the names, has that. But yeah, there was a nice safe windows for him to throw the ball. And I don't know if Coach DC pointed this out, but there was another play by the goal line. Would have been an easy touchdown. Mark was uncovered. Tyler Huntley was locked on one side of the field. Totally did not see Mark over there running by himself on a busted coverage. And Mark didn't like yell about that when he was just like, almost like, damn, man, what that, I ain't going to say it, but you can imagine that it is All 22 Films. So yeah, check out Coach DC. He has got a great, just a great library of stuff over there. So
Shout out to
Jameel,
all 22.
yeah, let's talk about this AFC picture. Looks different, man. Put some work in.
Yeah. It looks different, man. Currently in, still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. All right, that's a little job. I'm not gonna go too far, but yeah, currently in, still alive. This it's different from the other ones we've seen. We've had up. Um, Miami is dropping. Aren't
Not
they?
only that, not only that, Jameel, Tua is ruled out for this week after yet another concussion. It's going to
Ouch.
be Teddy Bridgewater going up to New England to play them. New England
Ouch.
sitting right behind them. So
Whew.
yeah, I like the Still Alive though. I was thinking about what the type Still Alive hit me. It's like, have you ever heard the Pearl Jam song? I'm still alive.
Oh no. But I did. There is another song that was trending on Twitter. A rapper, a young rapper. he made a song and he was like, "I'm still alive." Like, I guess he was trolling somebody that op is like what they like to call it. So I'm still alive. Like, it was just young kid stuff. Don't mind me. But
Yeah, hey, Miami lost 4 in a row. They were 8-3 one time in the head of that division.
and look, your guys creeped up to number 4, Jacksonville. You said it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was a few weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, you said it. You said Jacksonville, and I bought into it, man. I said Jacksonville is gonna get that spot. I definitely agree with you because they started playing some really good football, and they got a chance to close out. They got Houston. I think they can pull that game. I think they can win that game, and I do think they can beat Tennessee.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It the part that jumps out to me, I've never thought about things you've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville and Houston, or excuse me, Jacksonville and Tennessee.
Right.
They play a game this week that is meaningless for both teams because they play each other last week of the year.
Mm,
So basically, if Jacksonville loses this week and Tennessee wins, Jacksonville can still tie them up next week, and of course, Jacksonville will have swept them. If
right.
Tennessee loses this week and Jacksonville wins, as long as they beat Jacksonville, they got the better division record. Like we do better division than already.
Hey, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So yeah, you know what it's a lot for? It's a lot for me and my fantasy championship team that has Derrick Henry in it, who's now ruled doubtful for this game because they're not playing. They ruled out I think like 8 starters. So
Ooh.
Tennessee is like resting their guys this week against Dallas because they know that it's next week. They got like a bye week and their whole season's on the line next week. Never seen that before, Jameel.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. Especially in this situation where it's like you're the 10th seed and you're in the still alive category, whereas though you can have a bye week or a rest week, you should be playing every week like it's your last. So that's strange.
Black Daniels, see, a man of culture. Even flow. Thoughts arrive like butterflies. Yes, sir. He knows himself some Pearl Jam. And Jameel, if I was Eddie Vedder, would you like me any better?
Hey, I don't get that one, man. I don't know what kind of. I'm gonna look this up. What is this? What is it called?
Look up Eddie Vedder, bro. That's the lead singer of Pearl Jam. It's a double D, Vedder, Eddie Vedder. Um, Simply, I got a
Down.
ton of respect for Tomlin, but I need the Ravens to give him that first sub 500 season. And yeah, and let's see. And Shrimp Trawler saying the Steelers' path to the playoffs is surprisingly realistic. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm looking at these games coming up for all the teams ahead of Pittsburgh or tied with Pittsburgh, and I would have to say that out of all of them, they have the best shot of winning 2 in a row. It might be on these Ravens this week to keep them out of the playoffs, which would be an amazing feat for Coach Tomlin, by the way. If he got them all the way back to 9-8 with a rookie quarterback and all the problems they got on that team, man, that would be a great job. But I'm with Simply. Let's knock him out, man. Give him his first losing season.
And I'm with you and Simply. I don't want to lose to the Steelers. I don't think we're going to lose the game. So that's just me. I think I think this is the year where like the Steelers they got a lot of things that they need to tune up, and I think the Ravens are just that like they're just a better team in the areas that the Steelers just can't is not enough. They're too young in certain positions where you need to be a little bit more experienced. Like quarterback Kenny Pickett is not only is he young, but he's just not there yet, and I think he's not. I don't know if he's going to do enough to beat the Ravens defense.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think this game's a toss-up, man. I think that the Ravens without Peters it makes it a different team. And Tyler Huntley, it's like we're not seeing like a lot of growth from this offense. We're gonna have to run the ball like we did on Pittsburgh last time. So Jameel, what do you think about this Buffalo at Cincinnati game this week? Buffalo needs to win to have the path through the playoffs go through Buffalo. And you talked about that last week about how that's going to be a tough road if Buffalo gets that number 1 seed. If Cincinnati would win and the Ravens would lose, the AFC North would be Cincinnati's. But if the Ravens win, Jameel, next week is all for the division, no matter what happens with Cincy.
Yes. I do believe it's going to be a very tough game. Buffalo and Cincinnati is going to be a tough game. This is Buffalo going to Cincinnati. I don't want to give too much of an analysis on it, but I will say that Buffalo is more balanced on both sides of the ball. I think Cincinnati, they're missing, some key guys, Sam Hubbard, Hendrickson on the other end. They're missing some guys on defense. They don't quite have the secondary to kind of keep up with the Bills' weapons. So it's like things that I can point out, and I do think the Bills have the firepower on defense to not like shut the Bengals down, but to at least make some plays, maybe get a turnover here or there. So we'll see. I think Cincinnati can win, but I think right now, if you're asking me who I think could win right now, and I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
I'm going with the Bills too.
Yeah,
They lost, by the way. The Bengals lost their right tackle, Lyle Collins, this
yeah,
week. You dude in Buffalo, they're number one in the NFL in point differential. They've outscored their opponents by much more than any other team in the AFC. So it's a tough team in Buffalo. I like them. I think it would be different if they had a 2-game lead or something and they were half stepping, but they want that number one seed, Kansas City, right there with them. So I kind of like Kansas City to win this week. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Go ahead, put it. Who do you like this week, Buffalo or Cincinnati? The LA Chargers are another team that demands attention. They got the LA Rams and the Denver Broncos coming up, Jameel. And I see all these people on Twitter. They're like, "Oh, I'd rather have the 5 seed and play Jacksonville. I'd rather have the 5 seed and play Jacksonville." Bro, if you don't handle business, you ain't getting no 5 seed. You're going to be at the 3 or at the 6 seed because those
right.
Chargers are coming, bro. Those Chargers look like they're headed for 11 wins.
Surely, the Chargers, hey man, they clicking at the right time. They got the offensive firepower. They got some playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. The Chargers are a scary team. Worst thing that can happen for us. Well, best case scenario, we make it to the playoffs, right? You have a chance to go all the way. But if the Ravens do somehow get that 3rd seed and the Chargers stay right there where they are, we'll be playing them because 3 play 6, and that's
That's
not going to be easy. That's
Yep.
going to be a very tough game.
Yeah.
Very tough game. We're going to have to score because
Yeah.
you're going to put it all on the defense. Because I know everybody, defense has all the resources. Da-da-da-da. Then that means you're just saying the Chargers, even though they have 2 top talent wide receivers, they have a top running back, a top quarterback. That means they can't do nothing. Like, no, that's not realistic. They're all in the NFL. They're professional athletes. You're asking the defense to go out there and win you football games. It's not going to happen. It's the offense is going to have to score. If we end up having to play the Chargers, offense is going to have to put up some points. So it's not an easy road, no matter how you look at it. The playoffs is going to be tough. I don't care if we got to play at home first or if we got to go to whatever Jacksonville. However, it tosses up, it's going to be tough.
That's why I've always wanted this home game in the division. Even though people kind of write us off for that, like just let us stay home for 1 week, because the
Yeah,
competition is going to be tough no matter what we do. We don't want to have to win 4 games on the road. That's a really tough. Even 2012, we had that one home game. And
yeah.
then what I find kind of crazy on here is that the Las Vegas Raiders are mathematically still alive, much to my surprise. And they're traveling. Dude, look at their schedule. They got San Francisco and Kansas City coming to town.
That's
Two,
tough.
you think
You,
so? Like I,
yeah, I do. I do think they're going to lose both of those games.
and they sent Derek Carr home, bro. Benched him for Jared Stidham. Looks like Derek Carr's tenure is over in Oakland, in Las Vegas. Excuse me. I know this is a Ravens show, but for me, Jameel, I think that that's a good move because you look at this, dude. Look at the standings right here. You got Josh Allen, you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Joe Burrow, you got Trevor Lawrence, you got Lamar Jackson, you got Justin Herbert. If you want to throw two in there, go ahead. But you need like a dynamic quarterback to compete in this
Yeah.
conference.
Mm-hmm.
You need somebody that can make plays off schedule. Forget about the design runs and all that crap for a second. Just talking about the offensive line misses a block. You need to be able to throw sidearm. You need poise in the pocket. Like I think that Carr is a good quarterback. He's definitely one of the best starting 32. Look around, bro. He's probably like a top 20 quarterback for sure.
Mhm.
But to compete in the AFC, you might as well start over, start building your team, and start taking a shot at one of these dynamic quarterbacks in the draft. Maybe that's why they're just benching Carr, giving up these last two games, finishing 6-11, and see if they can get like one of these top 3 or 4 quarterbacks out of the draft.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if Devontae Adams signed up for that. So, Devontae, if you are looking to, if
Hi, Devontae.
you want to play with unanimous MVP, give us a ring, brother. I don't think he signed up for that, but I mean, if that's the rate, if that's the Las Vegas Raiders, if that's what they're trying to do, we call that tanking. You know, that's the term for it. If that's their goal, then hey, go for it, man. Do your thing. Hopefully, you get the quarterback that you want. Um, but I can't say that I saw that coming when Devontae Adams went to the Raiders, right?
Right.
And like we said, this is a Ravens show, but we love football. We love to talk about different teams and things of that nature. My thing is, this is why I tell people, just because you have the weapons, just because you go spend a lot of money in free agency, that does not automatically deem you success. It does not. This should show you. I'm not just pointing to this team because they are a failure, but there are many different ways to skin a cat. That's all I'm saying. There are different ways to skin a cat, different ways.
You need a quarterback, a no line, a good coordinator. You're going to score points. You're going to make the playoffs. And then, that's when you need the complete team once you get in there. So, Jameel, I think we covered the AFC. Las Vegas is going to fall off this list. Hopefully, the Ravens can win Sunday night football game, flex to Sunday night. We can knock them off the list. Tennessee will still be on. The Jets, I'm interested to see what they do with Mike White back at quarterback. They have a pretty good roster. They have, they can win at Seattle and then Miami against maybe Teddy Bridgewater their last game. Maybe the Jets can sneak back up after a really rough stretch and take that last spot because New England at Buffalo, that's going to be a tough one there too. So very interesting, man.
Nah, it definitely is. I'm just ready to see how it unfolds, man. I just want to see how it unfolds. It's action packed. We're playing on Sunday this week, not Saturday. I know we've had a bunch of Saturday games the last couple weeks, so we're back on Sunday night. So, you know, and some people thought because it got flexed to Sunday night that meant Lamar was probably coming back. I know a couple of people thought that. A couple of people thought that. I understand why, because you're thinking like, why would they flex us to a Sunday night primetime game with without Lamar? But I can understand why some people might have thought that. But yeah,
I
it's
mean, I
definitely
was hoping, I was grasping for any kind of positive signs, man. I just want my Lamar back, man. Just want my Lamar back.
I want my Lamar back.
I want my Lamar back, Lamar back, Lamar back. Yeah. Um, so I want to talk about
Dad jokes
Lamar
are
one more time,
crazy.
man. I I see other teams. I was thinking about this today. Like the Aaron Rodgers, and there's been so many. It seems like every year there's a quarterback. Even with Watson, where this team's going through it with their quarterback, and they got to tag them, and the negotiations drag out, and I'm always like, man, I'm not a fan of that team, so it's no big deal. Ah, well, he'll probably sign. I wouldn't worry about it. Ah, they're making a big deal, but like it's different when it's your quarterback. When it's your quarterback, I'm living and dying with every kind of like news, like, oh, they flexed the game to Sunday night. Does that mean Lamar's coming back? Like, I find myself being a victim of emotion here, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's always, you never know what it's like until you're in the situation. You never know what it's like. Once you're in that situation, you can understand why people act the way they do, why they react the way they do. So yeah, it's definitely been a emotional roller coaster with this whole Lamar contract stuff and now the PCL stuff and all of that, which I want to mention. I just want to, for the record, for some of the people that are worried about his injury and things of that nature. Yes, PCL is a mild sprain, whatever, but there are some other guys in the league This like Zach Wilson, he had the same injury in the preseason. He missed 5 weeks, so he played the first preseason game. He got hurt. He missed the last two preseason games. Then he missed that fourth week, which is that the week right before week 1, and then he didn't come back until week 4. So he missed 5 to almost 6 weeks of football. So like some of the people that are saying Lamar should have been back, there are some guys that you can look to around the league that can kind of, and everyone heals differently. So try to relax a little bit, just give it another week. Maybe he'll be back soon.
You know what? I hope he comes back for Cincinnati, not just because of the division, but because I want to see him get in some kind of groove. I want to see him work with Sammy in live action. I want to try to get Andrews back on track. Like, I don't want to go from Tyler Huntley's, offense to all of a sudden, hey, Lamar's back, make it work right now. Quarter 1, season on the line, first drive. Like, it'd be nice if, we could do that, but it'd be nice to see him in Cincinnati, win or lose, just shaking off some potential rust or whatever, man.
And it'd be crazy if he come back week 18 versus Cincinnati, and he's just throwing it, just slinging the ball around, right? Just he throws 4 or 5 touchdowns, give you a Jackson 5, and just go right into the playoffs. Rides off into the sunset into the playoffs with a Jackson 5 to end the season.
Yeah, that would be nice, dude. And you know what? Sky's the limit, I still think, for this team with Lamar. And that's saying it with the wide receiver room and all. And I know people would disagree with me about that. But I look at the running game, and then you put Lamar on top of that running game. I look at, you have a defense that can stop the run, stop the pass, get Peters back here shortly. And, I'll take my chances because I see warts with every team. Buffalo looks pretty complete, but there's times Josh Allen don't look like himself since he hurt his elbow. Since he's got injury problems like you managed. Kansas City, I mean, Lamar beat him last year. I really believe that this team has some good football that it can play. But of course, you need, like, Tyler Huntley's not going to win 4 games in a row. I have a hard time believing that we can win 4 games against those teams in a low scoring fashion.
Yeah, and I agree. But like you said, man, we gotta get LJ back out there. He gives us the best chance to win. That's when players are special. Certain players that just special like that. Those Lamar kind of players, those unanimous MVPs, those top caliber in the league, in the NFL, elite talent. They give you hope. They make you believe. You know what I'm saying? Like Lamar's not Tom Brady, but when Tom Brady is under center, I'm pretty sure for years the Patriots fans were, as long as Tom Brady's on the field, we got a chance, right? That's a lot of teams feel that way when their starting quarterback, franchise quarterback, is on the field. He gives you the best chance to win. Your best players give you the best chance to win.
That's right. Simple. That's right. And, looking at this game from Pittsburgh right here, we won with Tyler Huntley last time. What was it, 16-14, I believe the score was. Anthony Brown came in. Interesting from this game, if you remember, Kenny Pickett had 1 pass attempt, did not complete it, took a sack, and was knocked out of the game. So it was the Mitchell Trubisky show. And Mitchell Trubisky, if you remember, staring down his receivers. Patrick Queen had a really nice interception. Roquan had an interception. Mitch made some big plays against us, man. He averaged 9.2 yards per pass, which is what kind of it's a different quarterback than Kenny Pickett, Jameel. He's a safer quarterback, takes care of the ball, less downfield from Kenny Pickett. And it's going to be the first time he's going to be able or have a look at this Ravens defense, really.
Yeah, it certainly. And just with Kenny Pickett, like I said, they're gonna try to make it easier on him. They got Najee Harris. They got the running backs. Their running game has been pretty solid as of lately, so they're gonna try to lean on that running game to make life easier. You got your Pat Freiermuths, your Pickens, and your Deontay Johnsons of the world. You have your targets, your pass catchers that you could get the ball to. The thing that I find interesting is on the Baltimore Ravens side, Tyler Huntley, 88 passing yards, will not win us this game. I did not realize that's all he did the last time we played the Steelers.
Yeah, look how small our reception chart is, bro. Only 4 players caught passes, and one of them was the running back in Kenyon Drake. But yeah, Huntley, 8 of 12, 88 yards. He only took 1 sack, but I mean that's that's pretty much our quarterbacks got sacked twice in 17 attempts. That's not good either. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward. Remember, Chris Wormley got in there, sacked, and did a dance that we weren't too happy about.
Yeah, I wasn't too fond of that dance
Yeah, I
either.
wasn't too fond of that. Yeah, we can't. There's kids watching.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
but
Hey,
yeah, not a lot of passing attempts. The
that's
Ravens though ran
yeah,
all over the Steelers.
yeah. But I think the Steelers would try their best to neutralize. I don't know if they can completely stop the run, but they're going to try to focus on maybe neutralizing the run game to the point where it's, slow it down a little bit. Just try to, sell out on stopping the run and forcing Huntley to throw. Because I'm pretty sure that just like we're looking at this chart, they're looking at this chart saying he threw 88 yards. He threw the ball 12 times the last time they beat us. We're going to make him throw. We're not going to let them run all over. And if we still happen to run all over them, then they deserve to lose. That simple.
Yeah, and you know what? Red zone again. This is where it comes at. How the heck do you run for 215 yards? You get 3 interceptions, and you only score 16 points. I mean, we got to do better than that, Jamil. We have got to give the ball to JK and Gus, when we get inside the 10-yard line and just bully these guys because, I mean, Devin Bush had a really, really rough game when we played him. Linderbaum climbing to the second level, Zeitler getting to him all the time. That's where our advantage is running the ball. We don't have to throw it a ton. I was glad to see Sammy get involved, though. I'm glad to see the big play from Sammy.
Yeah, that was promising. I like that. I caught that because I was in and out of watching the game, and then I just see Sammy catch the ball. He's going down the side. I'm like, oh, okay, Sammy. Like I say, he got the hair, the 82, Torrey Smith, Super Bowl. All right, okay, never mind. But I like what I saw. But like you said, bro, when your running backs are getting 8 and 5 yards a carry, you gotta give them the ball, man. But some news came out about JK. The load managed. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's no more snap count with him. He's ready to go, full workload
for JK. Yeah, Harbaugh put an end to that question. It was weird because Harbaugh tried to end the press conference by asking a reporter questions about his daughter's like singing recital or something. And then he was like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess it's a good way to note." And then they had one more question that was about the load management. And he's like, "Look, basically what I read from it is we can't get we can't even get Justice Hill the carries he wants. There's no load management. If anything, we want to give everybody more carries. So yeah, JK, no restrictions on him. Gus could always use the ball more. I mean, now I'm looking at this. Huntley had 9 carries for 31 yards. So Huntley brought down the average. I mean, really, he had a 2-yard Ricard run on 4th and 1. Anthony Brown's totals, 3 carries minus 5 yards. Those are kneel downs, Jamil. So you take out the kneel downs, you take out the Ricard 4th and 1 plunge, you take out Huntley's like near sack scrambles. I mean, JK and Gus, 28 carries for 186 yards. In that's what we need to lean on, man.
Look, man, if the Steelers can't stop that, they might as well go ahead and pack it up, man, because the Ravens are going to run the football. They're going to run it. JK is fully healthy. He's right now our most dynamic player on offense with Lamar not playing. JK is easily the most dynamic player on offense. They're going to feed J.K. Dobbins. And now that he is obviously ready to go and he's, trusting, he's gaining more trust in that knee. Oh,
He looks so good, man. A ton. He looks so good. His vision, his cuts, everything looks really good from JK. And he's hard on himself. He wants that long speed back. But my goodness, man, JK is obviously just a special, like just straight out football player, bro. Like it don't matter if he's 100% or not. He's got the vision. He's got the cuts. He's finishing strong, Jamil. Spin off a tackle to get an extra yard here or there. Just a special football player.
Yeah. And for me, man, with a talent like that, I would love to see, and just to add, like that dynamic, maybe when we get our new OC in here, to use JK a little bit more in the passing game, man. Screens and sending them out wide, running screens, like kind of, like he's not Christian McCaffrey, but kind of like how the 49ers use Christian McCaffrey, man, just trying to use him more in the passing game. You remember that practice when J.K. Dobbins jumped in the air and everybody was raving about that catch he had when he was like way up in the air. He was up there looking like Michael Jordan. I was like, hold on now. Like, hey, look, man, he's dynamic. He's dynamic. You got to get your playmakers the football. You got to put them in positions to succeed. I would love to get whoever we get in here to get the best out of J.K. Dobbins, man, because I think he could be a top running back in the league. I truly believe it.
Me too. And Alan brings up a good, nice to hear from you. Thank you, Alan. The key for JK isn't the big runs. Yeah, that's JK being hard on himself. He wants to be able to house it. But like you're saying, Alan, it's the consistency of gaining 2 or 3 yards extra, keeping the down and distance manageable. Yes. And finding the hole, man. He makes something out of nothing that'll get you 5 yards out of what should have been 1 yard. That extra 2-3 yards you're talking about there. Just a special player. The other thing I noticed here, Jameel, on this chart is that the Steelers, Pickett had 8 yards of carry on his 2 carries. So you take it out. Look at their running backs average. Najee Harris averaged 2.8. Jalen Warren 3.7. Benny Snell 2 rushes for 4 yards. Their wide receiver Sims got a jet sweep type carry. But really, I mean, you take out the 16 yards from Kenny Pickett, and they're like 18 carries for 49 yards. 18 for 49. Their running backs, man. Ravens just dominated that offensive line of the Steelers you were talking about.
Yeah, and that's right under the average. They said that since Roquan has been on the team, I think it's 55 yards a game given up rushing. We give up 55 yards a game rushing. We allow, I'll say, not give up. We allow 55 yards a game. So that's under the average. 49, yeah, hey, man. You might be on to something about that Calais Campbell stuff too, because the Falcons was kind of, that Algier kid was kind of running all over us a little bit.
He's a tough man. I remember talking about him with you and Kent last week. I really liked Algier in his own scheme. Isaiah Mack was waived this week. I didn't think he played really well. I was going to do a cut up of him on the channel, but I was like, it's not the best look. So we'll see who else fills in there on the defensive line. I thought Urban looked strong. They used Matabike out wide, cut up with Justin Matabike snaps on the channel. You'll notice him on that, guys, that he was basically at 4 tech, 5 tech a lot in that game. 4 inside, straight up 4, even some 5 tech. Man, he looks good out there, man. His run defense is not much of a concern when he's not getting double teamed out there, and he can just penetrate, take on some tackles, man. So I love that cut up of Matabike, Jameel.
Yeah, Mads, that's my guy. My guy, man. I love Matabike. I think fans are kind of hard on him because of, people seeing him working out with Aaron Donald, and then a couple people said, "Oh, he's baby Aaron Donald," and everybody started freaking out. You know how it goes. But me personally, man, I love Matabike. I love his game. He's strong. Physical is very quick. I think he's very dominant, man. I think up the middle, he's very good. And that, him lining up, like you said, at the 5 tech and the 4 tech, that just shows his versatility as a defensive lineman.
Yeah, I liked him. Also, Jameel, look at the Steelers spreading out the ball here, bro, from their quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson, 6 catches, Pickens 3, Freiermuth. You see all the names there. They've really spread it out. I think what surprises me about the Steelers is how much of a 2 tight end team they are now. We're used to have them having Claypool out there and Deontay Johnson and a good third receiver. They're really not that anymore. They're a 2 tight end team. Yeah. Freiermuth is who they use, obviously, as their pass catching tight end. And then they have Zach Gentry is more of their blocking tight end. But a team that can spread the ball out, and I don't see that changing with Kenny Pickett playing the game. He's very good as a young quarterback, being able to scan the field, pick somebody, find the open man. So we're going to have to rally and tackle. I think this is a game Kyle Hamilton is going to make a big impact.
Yeah, me too. Our guy, Kyle, man. I think Kyle, hey, look, I think he gave up a touchdown to Fire Move too the last time we played them. So I think I like to see Cal bounce back this week because I mean outside of that because he was on Fire Move quite a bit. So outside of that one touchdown, Fire Move stat line isn't too impressive. So I think Cal is going to have a really big game this week.
There you go. Anand with a question. Jamil, your thoughts on signing Matabike to an extension soon? These 2020 guys, Matabike, and the guy that I'm going to bring up is Broderick Washington, is a guy that I would try to see if I could get a nice cheap extension on him, give him some security going into the final year of his last year. But yeah, Patrick Queen, J.K. Dobbins, that whole 2020 class, all eligible for extensions. What do you think about talking to Matabike after the season?
I think better now than trying to do it next year if he has an even better season. Then he prices himself out. But then you still have to, because even if you try to extend him, he has an agent. If someone's telling him, look, let's wait it out, let's play on your final year, let's see what you do next year, that can also be a case. So, but I love the idea of trying, to get that done as early as possible because I don't think Matabike is going to break the bank. I think they could, he's probably going to be a little bit more than Broderick Washington, but I don't think he's going to break the bank at all.
Yeah, and that was Alan's question. Depends how much he wins. Travis Jones looks good, so hard to overinvest, much like Matabike. Yeah, Travis Jones, though, he plays a little bit different position. That's why I like Broderick Washington. Shrimp
Yeah.
Trawler says take Broderick Washington first. Like, this is a guy, it's a fifth-round pick. He knows he's not going to be a sack guy, whereas Matabike might be like, look, I want my money, or I'm going to try to put up like 5, 6, 7 sacks next year because I'm so close. Where Broderick Washington being a fifth-round pick and not a sack guy, you might be able to lock him up for something obscenely cheap for a guy who can be put all over the line. And it's just been really, now with the Calais is hurt, our steadiest player all year, I would say Broderick.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Broderick is he's definitely showed up in a big way for us on the defensive line. I like Broderick Washington. I have a kind of theory where I think the Ravens, they try to do these kind of deals. They try to like manage these players. Like, I don't want to say they put a cap on guys, but they kind of like manage their snap counts. So you see flashes from a Broderick Washington, and you're thinking like, man, if he played 70% of the time, what would his numbers look like? What would his stat line be? It's like it's a negotiation tactic. It's smart. If you manage to keep a guy, under a certain amount of snaps, and his stat line isn't too, out of this world, you can negotiate a cheap deal, like you said, for a Broderick Washington. And the same for Matabike. I don't think Matabike is going to break the bank because he doesn't, he hasn't played, a lot of snaps, and his stat line isn't super crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
he has like 4.5 sacks right now. So
not only does it keep their stats down, it keeps them fresh against offensive linemen who don't come out.
Yeah. That too.
So there's a lot of good reasons. I like the Ravens' approach to rotate guys in there and to keep it deep. But I'm looking at just take the front seven overall. You got JPP and Justin. You got Calais Campbell might hang them up. Brent Urban, another veteran. So we're going to need to invest in that defensive line somewhere. So that's the one part that I would say to Allen. We're not going to have a lot of money tied up into our defensive front. Once those guys kind of retire or whatever happens to them. So if we can sign Matabike early to a reasonable price, I would of course be on it because I think he's a great player, a good player. I don't want to overstate it. A very good player. We're going to need to reload on that defensive line, though, and even at edge, we're going to need another player. Of course, it'd be nice to see what Ajabo had.
I think I'm just because I don't know what they're doing with Ajabo. I think he's ready to play. I don't know what they're waiting for.
Shrimp Trawler shoot. Michael Pierce coming back 3 years.
Yeah. He's under contract for next year for sure. Yep, he is. Thank you,
so
Shrimp Trawler.
We covered a lot tonight. Is there any, what's your final thoughts? Let's go to it. We have a short show tonight. No guest tonight. We didn't need to go into an hour preview of the Steelers because we just did it a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
We have a lot of Lamar stuff to talk about. I pretty much got everything on my list covered.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are your final thoughts, sir?
Final thoughts. Let's get this W. Let's win. Let's let's make it, easy for the fans to watch. We don't want to give anybody, heart attacks or anything like that. For those that are going to the game, it might not be as cold. Well, it is because it's a night game, so it's going to be cold. But the weather is a little different this weekend. I don't think it's going to be raining or anything like that. So, man, just try to enjoy the game to the fans and to the Ravens. Let's just get this win, man, and let's move on, man. And that's it.
Okay, from my phone as a Baltimore guy. High of 56, low of 44 on Sunday. So that's beautiful, bro. If the low is 44, you're going to be at the game chilling with 50 degrees. That's a nice. You can't beat that for a New Year's Day game, man. January, 44 degrees at night. So yeah, man. My first final thought is I need a haircut. I've just been messing with it for like the last 15 minutes, bro. Look how long I'm getting over here, bro.
Yeah, man.
I
You
gotta get
keep
on.
doing this. You keep taking your fingers and running it through.
Look at the sides, man. I'm like hiding a nightmare over here. Well, what's the proper term? I need to get trimmed up.
Yeah, gotta get a haircut, man. Gotta get shaped up, all of that. Get the all of that. Bang, bang, bang. All of that, man. Gotta get that right.
I see people like get the lines and then they color in the lines where they're not don't have hair anymore.
Yeah, I guess for those fellas, for the fellas out there who's thinning, more power to you. I feel bad for you, but you got to do what you got to do, man. Got to color it in to create an illusion. See, me, I don't have to do that.
Looks like you got waves in there.
Yeah, a little something. Don't get seasick.
Seasick.
All right now.
Yeah, hey, my final thoughts is just be more physical in this game. Let's get it under control. I do think that Cincinnati's going to lose, even though they're at home to Buffalo, but I don't want to take any chances. I think it would be important, every bit as important. Like if Mark Andrews has a big game, that's a great sign. If Sammy gets more involved, that's a great sign. There are players that we could use to step up. I want to see some rhythm in this game, in the passing game. Especially, I want to see us win with more than 12 attempts, and not because we're behind and having to throw. I would like to see a balance, and then when it's time to hammer the ball. So just a better feel for the game against the Steelers, and also very important to me to keep T.J. Watt, especially, and Alex Highsmith in check, to really be able to take a shot every once in a while. We saw the deep shot to Sammy. We saw the deep shot to Mark or medium shot to Mark. They both worked. Jamil, last week we were talking about how you got to try. You know what I mean? You got to try. You can't just throw 5 yards all the time. You're going to get intercepted. So keep TJ Watt in check. Keep Highsmith in check the best you can. If you got to bring Ricard in to chip and hang on those guys so you can take a deep shot, do it. But yeah, I want to see a little bit of everything, but more importantly, be the more physical team. If we're the more physical team on both sides of the line of scrimmage, Jamil, I think we're going to win.
Yeah, me too. I definitely have this chalked up as a win.
Kim, with a very important note, thank you, Kim S. Don't forget to drop a like before you leave. And she wants to wish everybody a great night. Yeah, hit that like button. It'll help us out a lot. And with that, Jamil, I just want to say thank you to our football family. I love our football family. Thanks for everybody commenting in here. It was great to hear from some new people in here and everything. Awesome comments. Next week, we'll be back. We'll do a little bit extra for the Bengals preview. Maybe we'll get back to our regular size show with the 2-hour show. Get a guest in here. But yeah, Jamil, just so much fun, man. I thank you so much for coming on again.
Of course, man. Anytime, bro.
We rocking, bro. We're rocking it.
We're gonna rock out, man. For sure.
All right, with that, I want to say thank you to football family. Love your football family. Say good night, Jamil.
Good night, everybody.